Inside Canelo versus Crawford. As Las Vegas holds its breath, boxing's best sit on the doorstep to immortality. Las Vegas. A floating stage in front of the lavish Bellagio resort provided the backdrop as Saul Canelo Alvarez faced off with Terence Crawford for the first time on fight week, with fountains erupting in choreographed bursts behind them. Las Vegas has staged monstrous events through the years, but boxing in 2025 needs a blockbuster more than ever with the sport in relative disarray. Two of boxing's U.S. Old Guard, premier boxing champions and Top Rank, are on the ropes, one with limited dates and the other with no confirmed broadcast partner at all. The industry needs success to remind its backers that it's still worth investing in. Confrontation usually defines box office promotion. Yet as water thundered into the air and splashed behind the headline fighters, Canelo and Crawford stood calm. They raised their hands to pose for the international media and reminded fans that it'll be those same fists that will do all the talking when they collide Saturday atop a 10-bout Netflix card inside the Allegiant Stadium. It's strange to think now that Alvarez's most obvious opponent from the lighter weight classes was never supposed to be Crawford. But considering the Nebraskan's Michael Jordan-esque competitiveness, Crawford probably took that personally. Before 2023, Errol Spence Jr. was the name. After beating Kell Brook in Brook's own country and returning to the U.S. from the UK with the IBF welterweight title, Spence tore through the 147-pound division from 2017 to 22, beating Mikey Garcia, Sean Porter, and Danny Garcia. He was linked with Manny Pacquiao, a testament to his abilities not just in the ring, but as one of PBC's top attractions on pay-per-view. The fight fans craved most, though, was Spence versus Crawford. Spence's former trainer Derek James told me often that it had to wait until every belt was captured between them. Undisputed was the only way to settle number one. Within PBC, some believed a win would propel Spence to an AT&T Stadium showdown against Canelo. I thought the weight gap made that far-fetched, but Crawford never did. What he couldn't accept was that Spence, not him, was the one being linked to Canelo. And so he set out to destroy Spence ruthlessly so he could seize the Canelo fight for himself. Behind the scenes, industry insiders were dubbing Spence versus Crawford as a Super Bowl for American boxing. And dang, did it deliver. I've never seen a crowd dripping with so much glamour. Big-time boxing was back. With Eminem and his entourage, Crawford walked out to lose yourself and stayed composed enough in the moment to deliver an unrelenting thrashing. It was one of the more impressive beatdowns I've ever covered live. Since then, Crawford has boxed just once, a routine win over Israel Madrimov that did little to enhance his legend. That lull may have fed Alvarez's initial dismissal, that Crawford was too small, and that beating him would earn no credit. So what changed? Well, judging from what Canelo told Uncrowned himself this week, it was about the chance to etch his name alongside yesteryear's greats, fighters from previous eras who engaged in fights across separate weight classes, like Manny Pacquiao and Oscar de la Hoya, Roberto Duran against Sugar Ray Leonard, and Marvin Hagler against Thomas Hearns. Crawford for Canelo could be this era's big one. At the beginning, when everybody started talking about the fight, I never paid any attention in my mind, the Mexican told Uncrowned. But after a lot of talk, they really come and offer me the fight. And you can see how big this fight is. Everybody involved, Netflix Riyadh season, can see how big this is. Two of the best fighters in this era fighting each other. In accepting Crawford, Canelo created a super fight that boxing desperately needed. It all helps make Saturday's showdown historic. The winner will leave Las Vegas as undisputed champion at 168 pounds, and perhaps as the sport's pound-for-pound number one ranked boxer. The victor may come to define the 2020s. For Canelo, it's about silencing critics who dared to suggest that he's lost a step. He already commands boxing's richest purses, one of its most loyal fan bases, and has fought on its grandest stages. But beating Crawford, particularly if by knockout, would reinforce his status not only as the sport's biggest draw, but its most enduring champion who has defeated elite boxers across multiple eras. For Crawford, it's about chasing immortality. He's conquered lightweight, super lightweight, and welterweight. If he climbs to super middleweight and dethrones Canelo, he doesn't just add hardware. He forces his way into conversations with the Four Kings, with Pacquiao, and with Floyd Mayweather. Now Las Vegas waits. The fountains have gone silent. Allegiant Stadium looms, ready to welcome more than 65,000 fans. The stage is set for Canelo to defend his throne at 168 pounds, or for Crawford to shock the world once more and take his own place among the greats. Canelo versus Crawford. Jermaine Franklin determined to show U.S. heavyweights are still in the conversation. Las Vegas. I want to show that we're still in the conversation. Jermaine Franklin's words to uncrown this week punctuate what Americans have long known. The days when the United States ruled heavyweight boxing are long gone. And, as one analyst put it to us, they may never, ever return. On the undercard of the event headlined by Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford at Allegiant Stadium on Saturday night, Franklin, 23-2 with 15 knockouts, has a chance to claw back some ground in a division where international fighters have seized control. Franklin's resume includes a 2014 Golden Gloves title and a 21-fight unbeaten run as a pro. But that hot streak snapped in 2022 and 2023 when his trips to London ended in consecutive defeats to Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua. The losses reinforced a cold truth that's been building for years, if not decades. America has rapidly fallen from grace at heavyweight. This weekend, Ivan Ditchko, 14-0, 13 KOs, is tasked with reinforcing that point. As a two-time bronze medal winner from the 2012 and 2016 Olympic Games, the Kazakh shared the ring with Joe Joyce, Bakitar Jalolov, Tony Yoka, Anthony Joshua, and Filip Hrgovic before he'd even laced up gloves for a professional six-rounder. Ditchko is used to big international bouts as an amateur, but now faces the toughest professional test of his career to date in Franklin. "I'm from Kazakhstan, and I'm a good heavyweight," he told Uncrowned in a matter-of-fact tone. "It's time," he said, to show that to the world. Ditchko appears determined to follow his countryman Gennady Golovkin to global stardom and join the post-Soviet lineage of heavyweight kings, from the Klitschko brothers to Alexander Usyk, who ruled the heavyweight boxing world like Americans once did. And it's not just the Klitschkos and Usyk. Tyson Fury's 2-0-1 record over Deontay Wilder showed skill could tame America's most concussive puncher. Joshua beat American hopefuls Dominic Breazeale and Charles Martin. Even Scotland-based Congolese fighter Martin Bacol battered the much-hyped Jared Anderson in 5 rounds last year. The list goes on. "I want to put us back on the map," Franklin told Uncrowned. "And I'll show that on September 13th. I'll fight a good fight, a sharp fight, and I'm going to shock the world. It will be a shock, too, because history, recent results, and the global talent pool all